Hey guys, Israel Favela here with CLEARVIEW Realty. So if you're thinking about moving to El Paso, it's important for you all to know about the pros and cons in living here. But before I do that, I want you all to be aware of a phrase that's commonly used here in El Paso, and that's aye aye. Let me show you through some skits.
Here, mijo, have some more tamales.
Oh no, gracias abuelita. I'm actually trying to eat a little bit healthier. I'm trying to cut down on some of the foods. I'm actually gonna go vegan for a few months.
Ay, mijo, eat 'em. You're looking too flaco.
Hey, we're all gonna go grab some lunch, man. What do you feel like eating? You know, I'm actually craving some chipotle with some carnitas and some black beans. Ay, ay.
Hey man, so it's been a long time since we caught up. How's everything? How's work?
You know what, man? It's funny that you ask, because I right now my job, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling the energy, the vibe. I'm just thinking about starting a YouTube channel right now that I can earn a living through there.
Ay.
So as you can see, the expression "I" is a way to describe a negative feeling towards, something that someone had said, right? So we're going to be going over the pros and the I's, aka pros and the cons. So let's jump right into the cons first. So the weather. So the weather, it just really depends on where you're coming from. So if you're coming from the Northeast and you're just tired of the cold weather, El Paso may seem a little bit extreme, or it may seem just like the right, temperature for you. But El Paso is super hot in the summer and very, very dry, which means that electricity bill can go up if you're going to be staying in your home and trying to keep your home cool. Now, another con that's a sub from that is El Paso has a type of air conditioning that's called evaporative cooling. And whenever I bring people from out of town that are not familiar with that, I describe it like this. So it's a unit on top that looks just like a regular old air conditioner that's refrigerated, and there's pads in there that that can be wet through the system that is the evaporative cooling, and they wet these pads so that it can become cool, and they turn on this turbine so that it can get the coolness of these pads and distribute it to the home itself. Now, if there's any hint of humidity, it is not going to work whatsoever. As it is, whenever it's not humid, it cools, but just not to the level refrigerated air. So whenever you're purchasing a home and you hear that term, that's pretty much what it is. Another thing, property taxes. So property taxes, I know that's one of the biggest complaints. That's the biggest II here in El Paso. So it's between about 2.7 to 3.5%, depending on what area you live in. But the El Paso Central Appraisal District, which is the governing body that is in charge of determining the property taxes, if it's going to increase or decrease, they have a certain committee there that determines that. But you can always go to the El Paso Central Appraisal District website for you to determine the property tax percentages depending on the certain areas in El Paso. Another thing, it really just depends on like where you're coming from. If you're coming from Dallas, Houston, major cities, the traffic can be, something super minor to you. But if you're from El Paso, has never left, or coming from another city that's smaller, that doesn't have as much traffic, then it can be like a huge deal. Now, I will tell you that there's certain areas in El Paso that I feel like you should avoid during certain periods of time. Like, for example, here in the far east side, it'll be bottled up, because not only are there schools along these exits, but you will also have people just coming in from work and going out of work, and it just gets super congested in the morning, like I would say between 8 to 9, and then in the afternoon between like 4 or 5:30. Another portion is in the Spaghetti Bowl area, and this area here is one of the many entrances that we have for people to go to Juarez, but this one seems like it's one of the most popular. Now, there was different routes to get to that one entrance, but they closed one off. So in this area here, it can get super congested, to the point where if you're trying to travel through here between 4 and 5, it's going to be difficult for you to get on to the highway for you to be able to get anywhere in that instance. So I highly recommend to avoid it. And I-10 can get really packed too. If you're, just the normal times from going to work and coming back from work, it can get congested. Another major one for sure, and it's the last con, is the entertainment. The entertainment, when people here from El Paso, have complained about the entertainment, it's really compared to, your bigger cities like Dallas, Houston, Austin, Phoenix, even Tucson. We don't have any, major professional baseball teams or football teams or basketball teams. We do have a minor league which I'll discuss the other sports that we have here in a bit in the pros. But we don't have these major ones like the professional, pretty much we don't have that here. And if you compare it to major cities, of course, it's going to be a little bit more, not as intense. But we offer quite a bit of things. But that's one of the bigger complaints is that El Paso doesn't have a great entertainment, district. That's all a con. So it's not so much that I wanted to talk bad about my city, but it's just kind of sharing information of some of the things that people that live here complain about that we don't have. But there are a lot of positive things. And when I'm going to start off with the entertainment, I know I ended off with the con, but there's a lot of entertainment points here in El Paso that I feel should be noted. So we have the Chihuahuas, which is a minor league baseball team that feeds into the Padres, the San Diego Padres baseball team. And then we also have the Locomotive soccer team here. We have, various concerts here, but we do have a good flow of traffic here for concert. If you're interested in hiking or going out to nature or just experiencing, there's just beautiful views of the mountains. And if you like to go off-roading, there's definitely a lot of trails for you to go to as well. Another pro that I think, and I know I discussed this before, is the weather. I personally like the weather here. Maybe it's because I just grew acclimated to the heat, but one thing that I just enjoy so much is that it's not cold like it is in the northeastern states. Like I don't know that I can handle a long period of time of winter than what I have now. So right now I would say it's about maybe 75 or 80 degrees and I'm wearing a long sleeve, right? So it's I'm not very used to the cold. So if you're like that too, I would say that that's a pro for you as well. Another thing that I like about here is that the population, it's not so much of a very small town feel, but it's not like a huge metroplex feel either. So the population here is about 839,000 for all of the county of El Paso. So El Paso County doesn't include only El Paso City, so there's other smaller towns that are surrounding it as well. So if you ever wanted a small town feel too, we have Flint, we have Socorro, we have even Horizon, we have Anthony more on the west side in Canutillo, and even further out east we have Fabens, and even further out we have Tornillo. You can still get the small town feel here in El Paso and not having to live necessarily in the city limits itself. The other thing I want to discuss is the affordability in terms of the average sales price or the median sales price here in El Paso. The median sales price last month was $202,000. So if you really compare that compared to other homes in other different cities, the size that you're going to get for a home here in El Paso that's $202,000 is much bigger than a home that you would get over there in a different city like Dallas or Austin. And the last one really is, it's very family oriented. I feel like the people here are very nice. It's been ranked one of the safest cities in the nation for year in and year out. So there's a common misconception that because we live close to the border and just the violence that was happening in Juarez, that was spilling over here in El Paso. And I feel like we haven't really experienced it much here. I did want to make sure that I clear up that misconception, but it's a very family-oriented community. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So if you guys have any questions about the community or El Paso or any particular neighborhoods, feel free to give me a call or text. My information is below, but other than that, you guys have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.